I just did a video talking about why your audience doesn't trust you and how you've got to get around it and manage it with your PR and comms. But what I want to get to is the issue in the first place, like what's actually gone wrong, because you can try and spin it as much as possible. There's something that's not working in your business, in I guess behind the scenes, and that's what's not working. And so often, as a PR practitioner, what I see is that the problem is not addressed, yet I'm being asked to try and get around it and convince the audience that everything is just fine or will be fine without actually being transparent. But then, as a systems thinker, I just cannot. It's almost like that. Very good example is there was a lot of congestion on the M25, so they added more lanes, but there's no thinking going into why is there so much congestion, why there's so many more people on the roads, and it's not sort of taking into account the other issues and factors, and that is what if you're just now making it even more desirable for people to drive, and previously they didn't drive and now there's even more people on the roads. So there's something that's just not working, and you've got to sort of take a step back. And I think this is what a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners can't do. That's why it's so hard to do your own PR and comms, and it's easy to get someone to do it for you. But if you are having to do this yourself, then taking a step back is so necessary. And that does mean having to just first, before you do it publicly, and that means taking accountability, you've got to take accountability yourself behind the scenes. And that means totally owning what you've been doing that just doesn't work. Now, we know that as business people, as entrepreneurs, that there's always mistakes, and you rectify them, and you're just trying to put out fires all the time, and so haven't got time to communicate the problem. And sometimes when you do, oh my goodness, do you get it wrong, because you are used to communicating directly with your audience, and so you're thinking when it comes to something like this, it should just be easy. But you might find that you've lost the confidence of your audience, and actually anything that you say could just make it absolutely worse, and you don't want to do that. But what you want to first do is, while I plug this baby in, what you want to do first is you want to avoid it happening again, because otherwise you're going to be right back where you started. And you're just always going to be trying to put out a fire and avoid the fallout. But everything's fallen out. Like, you can't run from it anymore. So if something's broke, stop trying to make out like it's not, or that it's fixed, or that your fix is going to fix it, because the fix you're talking about might placate them for a bit, but they'll be right back complaining about the same thing again. And is that worth the pain? Because then there could be other circumstances that take over that could just take you out of the game. So you've got to get honest with yourself before you try and spin anything, before you try and write anything and address anything with your audience. Try and fix it yourself. You've got to sort of get really honest. Don't avoid. It's just not worth it. It's a very personal life lesson as well. You've got to just not be in this sort of mindset of, oh, yeah, that went wrong, but I'm just going to do this to fix it. And then I'll tell them here that everything is under control. But your fix is not going to fix it, because you've just done the M25 thing. You've just added more lanes. But is that is that efficient? Has that actually resolved it or solved it? It hasn't. So as a systems thinker, you've got to look at so many different things. And that's why when I do mapping exercises and I step all the way back, I look at not just what the issues are, but I will look at, who are all the different players, what are the competing ideas, what are the perspectives, what's the audience sentiment, what are other things going on that, might provide tensions or might add more problems to the mix, might make things more challenging. Let's note it all down. Events, situations. Just add it all in, add it all in. So before you know it, you've kind of, just from the exercises of mapping and being able to sort of like break things down like that and really reflect, you'll be in a completely different mindset. Completely different mindset. You've just given me an idea. I should basically create a template for people to do this for themselves, because I do it for myself. Not always brilliantly, because you're juggling so many things: parenthood, business, work, content, life, home, health, self, and the list goes on. And you know I find I do great work for others, and then when I'm trying to do any kind of PR, com stuff for myself, just don't do it, and I'm just so stuck in the work. So I get it. I get it. I so get it. But this content is for peeps who are lacking that sort of like zoomed out approach in their business, in their entrepreneurship. Now, I know I do commentary on media, politics, entertainment, but I'm using exactly the same mindset of reading between the lines, reflecting, taking a step back, zooming out. And that's what really helps me to have a bit more of a critical think about what's going on in the media and politics, and also helps people who are in business or having to communicate with their audience when something goes wrong. So if you would like to learn more, then of course subscribe. This playlist is purely for peeps like you who have a biz and need to figure out your PR and comms. I'm here for you. If you're interested in any of the sort of informal streams, then please, of course, subscribe, come through. I'd love to hear from you. Comments section is just the best. So I'll see you there. And in the meantime, stay biased. No, that's not my tagline. I'm just shameless plug of my merch, because we have subjective states of minds, and we just got to be aware of them, got to be aware of where we might have sort of ideas or beliefs that might be getting in our way or getting in the way of the path of growth and all the rest of it. And so just owning that you're biased can just free you, and that's what the merch is really about. So that's why I have merch scattered across the place. I'll see you in the next video.